We grow up with stories, fairy tales and movies that teach us love is something we find in someone else, that it comes riding in like a savior, rescuing us from loneliness, fixing everything that's broken, completing our story. But here's the truth I've come to understand, and it's deeper than anything those stories ever told us. Real, lasting love doesn't begin when someone else enters your life. Love begins with you. It begins in the quiet moments when you look at yourself, not the polished version, not the filtered one, but the messy, complicated, beautiful human you are, and say, I am enough. It starts when you stop waiting for someone to validate your worth, and instead you begin to see it for yourself, and let me tell you, that isn't always easy. Because the world will give you 100 reasons to question your value. You'll face criticism, rejection, comparison. You'll wonder if you're too much or not enough. But the moment you decide to stop chasing approval and instead build a relationship with yourself, your mind, your body, your heart, that's the beginning of everything. You see, when we love ourselves, not in an arrogant way, but in a grounded, compassionate, accepting way, we stop loving from a place of need. We don't search for someone to complete us. We look for someone to grow with. We stop settling for scraps of attention because we know what it feels like to be whole on our own, and that shift, believe me, it changes everything. Self-love is not bubble baths and spa days, it's boundaries. It's saying no to what drains you. It's recognizing your triggers and being brave enough to work through them. It's admitting when you're wrong, but not beating yourself up for it. It's treating your inner world with the same kindness and patience you offer your best friend. How many of us speak gently to others and cruelly to ourselves? How many of us give love so freely, but rarely turn it inward? When you begin to love yourself, something magical happens. You stop begging to be chosen. You stop performing. You stop compromising the parts of you that make you you just to be liked. Instead, you begin to attract love that feels safe, honest, and real. Because when you love who you are, you teach others how to love you too. You show them your standards, your values, your truth, and the right people rise to meet it. But self-love is not a destination, it's a practice. Some days you'll feel on top of the world, other days the doubt will creep in again. That's okay. The key is consistency. It's about showing up for yourself again and again, especially when it's hard. It's in the daily rituals, the way you talk to yourself when no one's listening, the choices you make about your health, your dreams, your relationships. It's not grand gestures, it's a commitment to your own well-being every single day. When you start from this place of wholeness, not lack, you begin to give love in a way that's powerful and pure, not as a transaction, not with fear, not to fix or be fixed, but as an overflow. Your love becomes a gift, not a cry for help, and the connections you create from that space, they are deeper, freer, more resilient. I've seen this truth play out in my own life. There were moments I thought I needed someone else to tell me I mattered, to remind me I was worthy. But the real transformation began when I looked in the mirror and decided to believe it for myself. I started embracing my imperfections, my ambition, my voice. And when I stopped apologizing for who I was, I found love that didn't require me to. Loving yourself doesn't mean you won't crave connection. We're human, we're wired for it. But the difference is, you'll no longer see love as the thing that saves you. You'll see it as the thing that expands you. You'll choose partners, friends, and communities that reflect your growth, not your wounds. So if you're searching for a soulmate, start here with your own soul. Ask yourself, do I like who I am when I'm alone? Am I proud of the way I treat myself? Do I hold space for my own healing and joy? That's where it all begins, because the greatest love stories don't start when someone else enters your life. They begin the moment you decide that you, just as you are, deserve to be loved, celebrated, and cherished. By you first. When we hear the word soulmate, most of us immediately picture romance. We think of that one person destined for us, the grand love story, the partner who sweeps in and makes everything feel complete. It's a beautiful idea, and for some it's real, but the deeper truth is this: soulmates are not always romantic. They don't always arrive in candlelight or kisses. Sometimes they come in quieter, unexpected forms. through friendship, family, or even fleeting encounters that shift the direction of our lives forever. A soulmate is not defined by flowers or vows or forever. A soulmate is someone whose presence stirs something deep inside you. They see you, not the mask you wear, not the version you project, but the real, unfiltered you. And when they look at you with that kind of clarity, something in you softens. You feel safe, known, accepted. Sometimes your soulmate is your best friend, that person who's been with you through every messy chapter, who knows how you take your coffee and what your silence means. The one who doesn't need long explanations or dramatic conversations because one glance is enough. You've laughed together, cried together, held each other through heartbreak and victory. They may not be your lover, but the bond you share is soul deep. It's unshakable, it's family, even if it's not by blood. Other times your soulmate might be a parent or a sibling, a relationship that grounds you in ways words can't explain. Maybe it's your mother's quiet strength or your father's steady belief in you. Maybe it's your sister's late night talks or your brother's ability to make you laugh when the world feels heavy. These connections may not always be perfect. They may come with flaws and complexity, but they're rooted in something ancient, something that says, you are never alone. And then there are the soulmates who cross our path briefly but leave a permanent imprint. A stranger you meet on a train who shares a story that changes your perspective. A teacher who sees potential in you before you can see it yourself. A mentor, a guide, a kind soul who appears in a moment of need and says exactly what your heart was waiting to hear. Their time in your life may be short, but their impact is infinite. What makes someone a soulmate isn't how long they stay. It's the depth of the connection while they're there. It's the way they hold space for your evolution, your truth, your vulnerability. Soulmates challenge you. They stretch you. They don't always make life easier, but they make it more meaningful. They push you to grow, not by demanding it, but by simply being who they are. Their presence awakens something in your soul that was sleeping before. We do ourselves a disservice when we reduce soulmates to romance alone, because in doing that, we overlook the extraordinary love stories happening all around us, the friend who has been your anchor through every storm, the aunt who reminds you that you are magic, the colleague who becomes your sister in spirit. These relationships may not be written about in novels, but they are sacred. They matter. They carry a different kind of forever. And sometimes recognizing a soulmate means letting go of traditional expectations. It means realizing that not every soulmate is meant to be part of your daily life. Some are meant to enter, awaken you, and leave. Some are meant to love you from a distance. Others may never even realize the impact they've had on you, and that's okay. Soul connections aren't always meant to be understood. They are meant to be felt. In a world that often puts romantic love on a pedestal, it's powerful to reclaim the many other ways we connect. To recognize that friendship, family, mentorship, these are not secondary forms of love. They are essential, they are healing. They are often the ones that sustain us when romance is nowhere to be found. So if you haven't found the one, don't believe for a second that your soul is incomplete. Look around. You may already be surrounded by soulmates in disguise, the ones who know your laugh, who text you just when you need it, who remind you who you are when you forget, the ones who love you without conditions, even if there's no ring, no title, no grand declaration. Soulmates are not a single event. They are a series of connections that reflect back pieces of our soul. They help us grow. They remind us that love isn't limited to one box, one person, one script. Love is everywhere, in forms we never expect. And maybe that's the most beautiful truth of all. When we think of connection, we often imagine grand gestures, the loud, visible moments that scream love and devotion. We picture surprise proposals, passionate declarations, and constant affirmations. And yes, those moments are beautiful. They make your heart race, they create memories, and they affirm what's already there. But real connection, Real, soul-level connection is so much more than what you can see or post about. It's not just loud, it's also silent. In fact, it lives in the space between the noise and thrives in both. There's something powerful about sitting with someone in complete silence and not feeling the need to fill it. You know, that kind of silence where you're not uncomfortable, not fidgeting, not trying to think of the next thing to say. You just are with them in their presence, and it feels full, not empty. That's real connection. When someone sees you, knows your energy, and understands that words aren't always necessary, sometimes the quiet is enough. It's in the small, unspoken things, the way someone hands you your favorite mug without asking, the way they instinctively know when you need space and when you need a hug, the way they look at you across a crowded room and with one glance you both just know you've had a long day or you're about to cry. Or you're proud and they just get it. That's the kind of connection that's not built on noise, it's built on presence, on paying attention, on listening even when no one is speaking. But connection isn't just silent. It's loud too, gloriously, joyfully loud. It's in the laughter that echoes through rooms and years, the kind of laughter that takes over your body and leaves you gasping for air. It's in the heated debates that leave you feeling alive, not because you agree, but because you respect each other enough to be honest. It's in the inside jokes, the spontaneous dance parties in the kitchen, the way your name sounds different when they say it like a melody written just for you. Real connection is both. It's the ability to be still and the freedom to be loud. It's feeling safe enough to fall apart and bold enough to be your full, unfiltered self. It's the kind of bond where silence isn't awkward and noise isn't performative. It's natural, it flows, it shifts between the two with ease like breathing, and that kind of connection doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, it takes showing up again and again through the noise and the quiet. It takes being willing to sit with someone through their silence, without demanding they speak. And it takes being unafraid to raise your voice, to tell your truth, knowing you'll be heard, really heard. Not just listened to, but understood. There's a softness in silence that many people are afraid of. We live in a world that values constant stimulation, constant communication, constant expression. But in the quiet, we find something sacred. We find truth. You learn a lot about a relationship in those moments when there's nothing to distract you, no TV, no phone, no background noise, just you and them. Do you feel seen? Do you feel at peace? Or do you feel like a stranger? And then there's the loud, the vibrant, expressive side of connection that celebrates you out loud. The people who cheer you on, who say your name in rooms full of opportunity, who aren't afraid to claim you, love you, laugh with you, who stand by you when you raise your voice for yourself, for what matters for others. That's the loudness that nourishes the soul. A truly connected relationship gives space for both. You don't have to constantly entertain each other. You don't have to explain every mood, but when the moment comes to speak or laugh or cry out loud, the space is there, held with love, held with intention, held with presence. So often we confuse noise for closeness. We think if we're not talking, something's wrong, or if we're not constantly expressing ourselves, something's missing. But real connection teaches us the value of just being. It's the friend who sits with you in silence after a loss, the partner who holds your hand without a word, the sibling who shows up, no questions asked, and it's also the one who sings with you off, key in the car, who FaceTimes you screaming with joy over your success, who fights with you, then hugs you harder. We don't need perfect words, we don't need constant sound. What we need is to be met deeply, truly, in the loudness of our joy and the silence of our pain. To be known when we are expressive and loved when we are quiet. That's the real connection. It's both silent and loud. And in the balance between the two, we find the kind of love that doesn't just touch our hearts, it touches our soul. Love is often portrayed as a feeling, a rush, a spark, a moment that takes your breath away, and yes, those feelings are real, they're powerful, they can change your life in an instant, but they are only the beginning. Because real love, the kind that lasts, the kind that holds you when life gets messy and hard, that love is not just emotion, it's effort. Anyone can fall in love. Anyone can feel butterflies or say the right words when things are easy and beautiful. But what happens when things aren't perfect? When the glow fades and life throws in long work hours, misunderstandings, illnesses, insecurities, or the simple monotony of everyday routine? That's when love demands something deeper, not just feeling, but action. Not just passion, but patience. Not just desire, but dedication. Love is choosing someone not just once, but over and over again in small ways and big ones. It's waking up on a Monday morning, tired and grumpy, but still making them coffee. It's sending a "how are you" text even when your own day feels heavy. It's showing up for conversations that are uncomfortable. It's staying when it's easier to walk away, not because you have to, but because they're worth the work. We've been conditioned to believe that when love is right, it's effortless, that if you're with the right person, it should always feel good. But the truth is, anything meaningful in life takes effort. A career, a dream, your health, none of these things thrive without intention and consistency. Love is no different. It needs nurturing. It needs energy. It needs a conscious choice to invest, even when it's inconvenient. Effort means learning your partner's language, not just the one they speak, but the way they communicate emotion, the way they deal with stress, the way they ask for love without saying a word. It means adapting, evolving, and being willing to meet them where they are, not where it's most comfortable for you. Effort is also about honesty, about saying, "I'm struggling," instead of pretending everything's okay. It's about having the hard conversations, the ones that make your voice shake, the ones you'd rather avoid because you care enough to grow together. Real love doesn't run from conflict, it leans into it with empathy and humility. It says, "This matters to me, and so do you, and we're going to figure this out together." But love's effort isn't only about what you do for the other person, it's also the work you do on yourself. Because being in a healthy relationship requires self-awareness, emotional responsibility, and the willingness to confront your own flaws. Love doesn't fix you, it reveals you, and the effort lies in being brave enough to evolve, not to be perfect, but to be accountable. And effort doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's incredibly quiet. It's in the way you put your phone down to really listen, the way you remember their favorite song, the way you hold their hand when they're anxious, or give them space when they need to breathe. It's in the way you say sorry and mean it, or how you forgive, not because it's easy, but because you understand that love is more important than ego. True effort isn't about grand gestures once in a while. It's about consistency, the steady rhythm of showing up, being present, and giving your best. It's not about being everything all the time. It's about being what they need when it matters most. And yes, love will challenge you. There will be days when you're exhausted, when misunderstandings pile up, when it feels like you're speaking different languages. But that's when you remember, love is not about finding someone who never tests your patience. It's about choosing someone who is worth the patience, worth the late night talks, the second chances, the learning curves. Because love that lasts is not built on how good things are when everything's easy. It's built on how you both show up when it's not, on the effort you put in to understand, to grow, to support, and to stay. That's not to say love should feel like hard labor or constant struggle. Effort should never feel one-sided. You deserve someone who matches your energy, who sees your effort and meets it with their own, who doesn't just love you when it's convenient, but when it requires time, attention, and sacrifice. Because the most beautiful relationships are the ones where both people are willing to do the work not because they have to, but because they want to. So yes, love is emotion. But it's also late, night compromises, early morning check-ins, working through pain, celebrating small wins, and choosing each other even when the world is loud and love feels quiet. It's not just what you feel, it's what you do. And in that daily, intentional effort, love becomes something deeper than romance. It becomes a partnership, a foundation, a choice, a legacy. We often believe that if two people love each other, that should be enough, that love on its own can overcome everything, but life has a way of teaching us a more complex truth, that timing is everything. It doesn't matter how intense the connection is, how deep the emotions run, or how real the bond feels. If the timing isn't right, love can still slip through your fingers like sand, and that's one of the hardest truths to accept. Timing isn't just about the clock or the calendar. It's about where you are emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It's about what season of life you're in, and whether your paths are aligned in that moment. Sometimes you meet someone who feels like everything you've ever prayed for, but you're not ready, or they're not, or life is demanding something different from both of you. The connection is real, but the circumstances aren't right. And that hurts because we're taught to believe that real love always works out, but real love doesn't just depend on emotion. It depends on maturity, on stability, on clarity. You could love someone with your whole heart and still not be equipped to handle what a relationship demands. Maybe you're healing from something. Maybe you're chasing a dream that requires your full attention. Maybe you haven't learned how to communicate without fear or how to love without losing yourself. And so the relationship struggles, not because the love is lacking, but because the timing is off. There are also moments in life where you meet the right person at the wrong time. It's like standing in front of a closed door, holding the key, but knowing that now just isn't the moment to turn it. Maybe they live in another city. Maybe they're still finding themselves. Maybe they've just come out of something painful and aren't ready to be open. And you wait or you don't. But either way, it teaches you something about love that's deeper than just wanting. It teaches you about patience, respect, and acceptance. Sometimes people do come back. Sometimes life brings them back to you when the timing is finally right. When you've both grown, when you've figured out who you are, what you want, and how to hold love with both strength and softness, and that reunion feels like fate, but it's not just fate. It's timing and the work you've both done in the meantime. Other times they don't come back, and that's hard, but that doesn't make the love any less real. It just means that love, like everything else in life, exists within the boundaries of time. And sometimes love's role isn't to stay forever, it's to awaken something in you that lasts even after they're gone. A lesson, a memory, a new version of yourself. Timing also matters in how we grow within a relationship. You could be with someone for years and realize that the version of you who entered the relationship is not the same as the one standing in it now, and neither are they. You evolve, you stretch, you go through losses and wins and breakdowns. And every phase of that journey asks the same question: are we still aligned? Are we still choosing each other in this new chapter? Sometimes the answer is yes, and the bond deepens. Sometimes the answer is no, and it's time to let go with grace. We don't talk about this enough, the quiet power of timing. We're quick to romanticize the highs of love, but slow to acknowledge that sometimes love walks in when we're still broken, or when our focus is somewhere else, or when the version of ourselves we need to be in order to hold love fully isn't ready yet. And that's not failure, that's life. The most painful lesson is often not about unrequited love, but mistimed love. The one that could have been, the one that almost was, the one where everything fit except the moment, and yet there's something deeply human and beautiful about that, because even mistimed love teaches us how to feel deeply, how to appreciate connection, how to value presence, and how to prepare for the love that is meant for us when the timing finally aligns. We spend so much energy trying to control love, trying to force it, chase it, hold on to it. But love, when it's real, flows, and timing is part of that flow. You don't have to manipulate it. You don't have to rush it. What's meant for you will arrive when you are ready, and when it is, and not a moment sooner. So if you find yourself in love and struggling, ask yourself honestly, is the timing right? Are you both in a space where love can grow without suffocating? Or are you forcing something that isn't ready to bloom? Because when timing and love align, it doesn't feel like a tug-of-war. It feels like ease, like clarity, like two people walking side by side, not dragging, not pulling, just meeting each other fully in the now. And until that alignment comes, let timing do its work. Focus on becoming who you're meant to be. Love doesn't vanish just because the timing isn't right. It waits, it teaches, and it prepares you. Because when the time is right, love won't just arrive. It will fit. There's a quiet myth we often carry about love, that it is soft, gentle, and safe, and it is, sometimes, but the deepest truth, the one we rarely say out loud, is that love makes you brave. Not just strong, not just emotional, but brave, truly, deeply, fearlessly brave in a way nothing else can, because real love, soul, deep, life-shifting love, asks you to open parts of yourself that you've spent years protecting. It calls you out of hiding. It dares you to reveal your truest self with all your scars and insecurities, not knowing how the other person will respond. And you do it anyway. That's courage. Love makes you walk through vulnerability like it's fire, barefoot, unguarded. It doesn't come with guarantees. It doesn't promise perfection. It doesn't shield you from hurt. But when love is real, it's worth the risk, and that risk, that bold step into the unknown, is what transforms you. You face your fears of rejection, of loss, of not being enough. You look them in the eye and say, "Still, I choose to love." Bravery in love isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's whisper, quiet. It's the bravery of staying when things are hard, of admitting when you're wrong, of forgiving when it's easier to hold a grudge. It's choosing communication over silence. It's saying what you really feel even when your voice shakes. It's telling someone, "I need you," without shame. Or walking away when love stops being healthy, even if your heart breaks in the process. Because love also makes you brave enough to know your worth. It teaches you boundaries. It tells you that real love doesn't ask you to shrink. It never demands that you abandon yourself for the sake of keeping someone else. The love that makes you brave is the one that gives you space to grow, to take up space, to be your fullest self. It doesn't trap you. It frees you, and sometimes that freedom requires difficult choices, to leave, to heal, to start over, and that too is bravery born from love. Love also makes you brave enough to believe again, especially after you've been hurt. It helps you reopen doors you once swore you'd keep closed. It whispers to your soul that you are still capable of feeling deeply, of trusting again, of building something beautiful out of something broken. It holds your hand when you're terrified of falling again and says, "You survived last time. You'll rise again if you need to." It's easy to be cynical. It's easy to shut down, to choose comfort over connection. But the ones who love are the ones who dare to stay soft in a hard world, who dare to see the good in people even after betrayal, who dare to try again, knowing full well the risks. That's not weakness. That's strength, that's courage of the highest kind. Love also pushes you to fight for yourself, for your people, for the life you dream of. It fuels your ambition. It makes you braver in your choices, more certain in your values. When you love someone deeply, whether it's a partner, a friend, a child, or yourself, you find yourself doing things you never thought possible. You show up when you're exhausted. You forgive when you thought you never could. You become a warrior for someone else's happiness. And when you truly love yourself, you do the same for your own. There's bravery in the tenderness love demands, in the care, the commitment, the day choosing of another person or of yourself, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's hard, even when the world tells you to guard your heart, to not care too much, to play it safe. Real love doesn't let you play small. It asks you to risk it all, and somehow, in the risking, you discover who you really are. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is love someone exactly as they are. No fixing, no changing, just loving. It's easier to walk away when someone's imperfect. It's braver to stay, to hold space for their growth, to believe in them even when they doubt themselves. And the deepest kind of love, romantic or otherwise, is the one that says, "I see you, I know the worst parts of you, and I'm still here." But perhaps the ultimate act of bravery is allowing yourself to be seen, fully, truly, without armor, to be held when you're weak, to be known in your messiness, and to let someone love you anyway. So yes, love makes you brave. It's not just the fairy tale version. It's the real, gritty, soul-strengthening version. It doesn't eliminate fear. It teaches you how to move through it. It's not always pretty, but it is always powerful, and in a world that constantly tells us to protect ourselves at all costs, choosing love is a rebellion. A brave, beautiful rebellion, because when you love, fully, fearlessly, you don't just touch someone else's life, you transform your own.